Hey guys, this is Jake with Johnson Family Farmstead, and in this video I'm gonna finally finish the little fire pit project that I started a while back. So what I'm doing right now is just laying out the cinder blocks. I had a lot of these cinder blocks left over from a project that I did a long time ago on the barn when we were building the barn. I also have some of the leftover stacked stone from when I did the deck columns, when I built the covered deck. Right now I just sized up my outside. I'm going to put down a small footing just to keep everything level so that it doesn't settle over time. Well, the overall dimensions that I ended up with is 33 inches by 33 inches on the inside diameter. And I used my worm drive skill saw with a diamond blade, 7 1/4 inch diamond blade that I got at Home Depot a while back. The diamond blade was about 50 bucks. You can use it wet or dry. First, I was cutting them dry and it was just kind of messy. So I grabbed the garden hose and I just kind of sprinkled a little bit of water on it while I was cutting. And that made the cutting process a lot easier. You can see what I wanted to do was make it to where, here's the stacked stone that we're gonna use. And I wanted to make it to where I was a full 3 courses, you know, a full 3 courses tall. So once I level it all out, you know, it'll be a full 3 courses high, and I won't have to cut any of it. And what I'm going to do is just going to put this on level with the top, like that. And then I will go around. We're going to put a capstone on here. Next thing I have to do is put the scratch coat on. I didn't worry about mortaring all the gaps here because I am going to do a scratch coat, and I am going to do metal or fire brick on the inside, and then I'm going to have a solid capstone on here. These are locked into the concrete pretty good, and these are mortared down to here, so I don't think this thing's going anywhere. This is the 1/4 inch notch trowel that I'll be putting the scratch coat on with. Just an old beat up one. I got the area wet with a sponge first, just because I think it sticks a little better when the surface is a little wet. It seemed to fall right off when I would put it on when it was dry. So I just grabbed a sponge, got it wet, and now I'm going to take my 1/4 inch notch trowel. I've got a batch that I've mixed up. It's pretty stiff, peanut buttery-ish. Kind of hangs onto your thing a little bit. And then I'm just going to put it on there. I put a shingle down to keep all the stuff from falling in the gravel, just to help me with cleanup. And so now I'm just going to put it on there and kind of, just like you're doing tile on the floor, like when you're spreading thin set, you want to just get like a 1/4 inch, like a nice little notch over there. This gives the stone something to stick to, suction to, when you go to put it on. It doesn't have to be perfect or pretty, just kind of has to be rough, so there's something to stick the stone to. This is the stacked stone. This is the Dorado stacked stone. It is a Chapel Hill is the color and style. So these are all the corners I had left over. I had exactly enough of the corner pieces to do this fire pit. So the idea behind the 4x6 board on the top is just to keep a level line so that when I place these stones up, I can butt them up against the bottom of that wood and stick them on, and it'll keep that top course perfectly level around the top of the fireplace. And then once I get that top course done, we'll move down to the next course, so on and so forth. So I'll show you how I'm cutting these. I've just got my skill saw with that diamond blade on it. I'll grab one of the longer pieces. Some things that I do when I cut these is I try to pay attention to the edge and how the edges are going to line up. So like, see how this one's kind of skinny? So when you cut these, you can see the edge right there. That's the cut edge where it's all white. So I try to butt those up to where you won't see them as much. So if you have a thicker section you have to cut, try to match it up with a thicker section of stone over here so it hides the cut a little bit. So on this one, it doesn't really matter. I mean, they're both about the same. So I'm gonna end up cutting the thinner part of this stone and putting it over here. If that makes sense. So you can see this edge is a little bit thinner, that edge is a little bit fatter. So I'm gonna leave that one, we'll put that up against that side, and then we'll cut this side over here. So what I'll do is I'll just make a measurement over here. I'll mark a line where I need to cut it, and then I'll cut it with my skill saw. And then plop it right there. Plop it. Nice job. Okay, we need some more.
Spread it?
Yeah, we need some more. Big blob right here. Okay, tap it a little bit. Tap it and it'll come off. There you go. Okay, one more right here. Kind of a... All done putting the stone on. I've got all four sides on. I think it came out pretty well. This part of the process took me, about 2.5 hours or so. Working from the top down was a lot easier. So next up will be the concrete tops that I'm gonna form, and then the metal liner. Since I've used the cinder block for the inside, I went ahead and I bought a couple of small pieces of 1/8 inch just regular hot rolled mild steel. I had them cut it to my dimensions, and then I cut some relief cuts in the metal. My brother works at a metal fabrication shop, which is convenient for me, and he was able to bend this metal for me. So all in all, this was a lot cheaper than fire brick. This cost me $80 total, and it's powder coated like a black bronze. And now all I have to do is bolt it together, and then I'm going to make some concrete faux stone tops for the fire pit. Really big thanks to my brother for bending this up and powder coating it for me. This is just an amazing color. It's kind of like a bronze color, and it's really, really cool. So here's the form that I built. I've got to clean it out. I basically just measured out my dimensions, and I cut some boards. I did put some reinforcement right here just to keep these from moving. I did use some silicone caulk along the seams, which each time I've used the mold, I've kind of had to redo some of the stuff and clean it out. You could make multiple molds. I had to pour 4 of these, so I only made the 1 mold, and I've just been reusing this mold, cleaning it up and reusing it. So this mold itself is 32 inches on this side and about a little over 48 inches on that side. And these are a 45 degree angle, so when I put them on the fire pit, they'll all line up and look nice and square. And it's about 10 inches thick. I also ordered one of these, which is this is for making concrete countertops. This is an edge form that gives you a chiseled edge. So it's a silicone form. So this was probably the most expensive process of the whole fire pit. This is what I ended up doing with it. So I secured it. I cut a 45 on one end, and then realized that I didn't really need to cut a 45. I could just leave it straight, and when the wood comes in, it would actually make a unnatural 45. Originally tried to double-sided tape this, and it didn't work, it didn't stick. I had a really hard time finding something that would stick to the silicone mold. They sell a double-sided tape where I got this from, and I would suggest that you get whatever they sell that works with this, because I had a heck of a time trying to get this to stay on my form. I ended up using spray adhesive. So this, I'll clean the form all out, and then we'll pour some concrete in there. All right, I've got the form all cleaned out, and I screwed the concrete countertop edge form into place. And so now what I need to do is just caulk the little tiny gap between the melamine and the form. And I'm just going to go along the edge and get it all caulked in. This is a bag and a half, and then I'm going to use this Quikrete liquid cement color. So I'm going to put that in my bucket, and then I'm going to fill this bucket up. It says about 2.3 liters per bag, so I've been going 2 liters with this, and then I'll fill this up and shake it and put that in, and that's usually enough water. And then I'll use a plasticizer also. Everything's all cured. I let it sit overnight just to be sure that everything was good. So we're gonna pop it out of the form and see how it came out.